on Farmington, Ohio Powell Road. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
Nature's Pickins.
This is the place to be. Farm living is the life for me. Land spreading out so far and wide. Keep Manhattan, just give me that countryside.
Nature's Pickins.
This is the place to be. Farm living is the life for me. Land spreading out so far and wide. Keep Manhattan, just give me that countryside.
Nature's Pickins.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Michelle Higbee from Nature's Pickins, located on 464 Connellsville Street in Uniontown. The phone number to store is 724-438-4211. That's 724-438-4211. The phone number here at the show today is 724-438-4593. 724-438-4593. If you have a question for myself or Morgan, I have Morgan Anderson from BioOptimizers on today. So if you have any questions for he or I, give us a call today at 724-438-4593. Real quick, 2 minutes, a little bit about Nature's Pickins. We've been in business 45 years. Of course, you all should probably know that by now. If it wasn't for you, we would not be here, and we thank you very much for all your patronage over the years. We are open Monday through Friday from 9 till 4, Saturdays 9 to 3. That's Monday through Fridays 9 to 4, Saturdays 9 to 3. We are located once again on 464 Connellsville Street in Uniontown, and the phone number once again is 724-438-4211. So, make sure that you come up and, take advantage of the different sales that, we put on every month. And some of them are repeats, I understand, but they're our best sellers. And for that reason, we would like to give you, a good discount on them so that they work for you and they're affordable. But, take advantage of them. Nordic Naturals has a lot of their omega-3s, their 120s, 180s on sale, DHA, different, their omega-3s is on sale. Blue Bonnet has their targeted choices, like the blood sugar, the blood pressure, the pain and inflammation, the urinary tract. All of those are on sale this month. Solaray has, vitamin C, their collagen bone complete, their magnesium glycinate, magnesium taurate. These are all on sale, this month. So take advantage of those. So stop up, check it out. Check out some of the new food items that we got in also. They're pretty good. Okay, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and connect with Morgan. And like I said, he's from BioOptimizer. And we're going to be talking about 3 different subjects. We're going to be talking about magnesium, the gluten guardian, digestive issues, mast enzymes, and if you have any questions for us today, give us a call at 724-438-4593. Good afternoon, Morgan. How are you?
Hello, Michelle. It's such a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me back.
Yes, absolutely. I apologize sometimes with some of the confusion of some of the things. I didn't realize the one time that we had you scheduled that it was the Pirates opener. And so, we had to change for that. But I do apologize for that. But I appreciate you coming on. I love when you're on the show, and the listeners do as well. They always say really nice things about the show and when you're on.
That's very kind.
Well, good. I'm glad. BioOptimizers is a fantastic company. You guys are so unique in what you do when it comes to your supplements. You're not like a normal, I guess I'm going to use the word normal, but like a bigger company, like excuse me, Natural Factors or Solgar, where you're pinpointing all vitamins from A to Z. You are very unique in what you manufacture, and that makes you, one of the best companies that we have on our shelf. And one of those products that our customers love for its unique and is the magnesium breakthrough. It has got to be one of your best sellers, I would imagine.
It definitely is. Yeah, and magnesium has been so integral to people. And I think a lot of people don't realize that every day they have 300 biochemical reactions going on in their body. And, despite its importance and that, 50 to 80% of individuals fail to meet the, RDI through diet alone, there's also all of these additional factors with stress and metabolic risk that can be caused from not having enough of it. And so being able to have magnesium is obviously important, and us being a company where we really appreciate that you say that we're unique, and we are trying to make products that are truly breakthrough products of understanding what we're selling to the deepest level before we put it out there. It's not, we don't ever want to make a Me Too product. We don't ever want to be part of something that is just to make money. This is about building the best possible product we can so that the first time people take it, they'll recognize what magnesium does. I'm sure you've heard from people that are like, I take magnesium, I don't know what it does, I don't feel anything. And we really strive to have a product that people can take that first time, and they wake up the next day and they're like, whoa, something's different. I feel like I rested deeper. I feel like I'm more focused. And, we're really proud to be able to be part of people's wellness journeys and not just sell them something. Like, we think that this really makes a difference in people's lives. And for every single product that we put out, we want to put that same care and thought. And, the company's been around for almost 23 years, since 2004.
Oh, wow.
And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. And, we started making digestive products, and they put so much thought and study into how products are absorbed, how enzymes work, how the digestion works. And that's, I think, one of the main reasons that these products are so well thought out, because they understand the digestion pathways, and they understand that you need cofactors to help with absorption and cofactors to help with the processing internally within the body. That it's not just having, one simplified, magnesium salt that's 4% bioavailable within the body. It's about really understanding every single form and making something that people can be, a high level physician and understand all the pathways, and they'll be like, recognize how it's going to work. Or they could just be like, I'm looking for something that feels good. And this is a very simple way to understand exactly what you're going to get without having to do a deep dive and just feel it the first time you take it.
A couple of weeks ago, I did two shows back to back on pain and inflammation. And one of the things that I talked about was magnesium, because magnesium is so important to the muscles and so forth, and relaxation, and, but biooptimizers, when you look at the different types of magnesium that's out there, has a combination like magnesium malate, for example. If you look on Fibromyalgia's website, they talk about magnesium malate being used to help with chronic pain and muscle and so forth. And it's in that product. And if you look at magnesium glycinate, with helping with the relaxation of the muscles, it's in that product. That's what I love about that product is you don't give just one magnesium, magnesium oxide, for example, or magnesium citrate, which is probably the most common sources of
Hmm.
magnesium that is out there. Um, you give 7 different ones that's going to support the body in multiple ways. And the pain and inflammation, like I talked about a couple weeks ago, I know personally that if I use the BioOptimizer's magnesium, I sleep better. I don't get any muscle cramps. Um, and I couldn't tell you, Morgan, I could have probably 500 testimonies on your magnesium by BioOptimizers because we have that many people that probably use it.
And that's absolutely amazing to hear. And, it's something that the formulators and the founders, because we're still, like owned by the founders, we're not part of this giant conglomerate.
Mhm.
So we can look at making products that are very specific and very in depth. And, it takes a lot of time and energy and work. And they really understood that different magnesiums work differently in the body. Exactly, like, magnesium malate can be really good for the muscles, especially the cardiovascular muscles, and support that. And one of the things that they were seeing is that, like, like magnesium bisglycinate has a glycine in it. That glycine is an amino acid that's a neuroinhibitor transmitter, so it actually slows or stops the overfiring of neurons in the nervous system and muscles. So if you have cramping, it can help to lessen that. It also helps, like some of the other forms, help with smooth nerve transmission, is where the muscles actually relax and can actually be at rest without being tight and cramping. And each different form is working a little bit differently within the body. And it really is something that I think is one of the reasons why someone can take a single form of magnesium, and it can be okay, and then they can take, the Biooptimizer 7 form, and that, literally the first time that they take it, they notice it because we're also using
Yep.
humic and fulvic blend to help with absorption because it makes it more acidic for the digestion, and the B6 to increase the body's ability to absorb and process the magnesium internally. And also, these are forms of magnesium that are, a lot of them are actually bonded to amino acids. And one of the things that's really special about that is we have receptor sites in our digestion to immediately absorb those amino acids. So the magnesium is just getting dragged along with it, where a lot of times with the magnesium salts, like magnesium oxide, it actually absorbs water, and those typically are absorbed lower in the colon, where they pull more water in the colon, and eventually it can cause a laxative effect.
Hmm.
And there's a much, much lower, like 4% out of 100 of what it's going to be absorbed versus a significantly higher with these forms of chelates or amino acids attached to the magnesium. So it's pretty specialized. And I think just feeling it the first time is where we really get people that all across the board, whether they're young and athletic, or older and just want to feel like they can sleep through the night without having restless leg or cramping. This is something that we hear from people all ages. It's pretty exciting.
When you talk about young and athletic, I don't know if you've ever heard of him or not, but Dr. Hans Nieper was a German researcher, and he wrote a book um, years ago about orotates. And you have the magnesium orotate in there. And one of the things I remember in reading his book is he talked about magnesium orotate and how it helped with muscles and athletic performance and heart performance with athletes. Uh,
Mhm.
so it's just amazing, I think, with all the different forms that you have in this. And you are right. Um, Most people that take the magnesium, the first dose or second dose, they say, wow, I can't believe that worked like that. I slept really good last night. Or I didn't have any leg cramps last night. Or, just different things. People, are amazed at how fast of a reaction they get with it. But it's because I think of all those different forms that are in there is just working with the whole body instead of, like you said, just unfortunately, some of them will give you, loose bowels or whatever,
Mhm.
and that's not what you want out of a supplement. Not, I don't, anyways.
Yeah, I totally agree. And we do have some forms of magnesium. We use a little bit of citrate because it's so good as an electrolyte, good for metabolism, blood vessel health, but also, as an electrolyte can help the cells be hydrated, which allows more magnesium absorption. But that's not what we're relying on. It's a very small amount and really focused on forms of magnesium that are going to work the muscles and metabolism and support for the immunity and the bones, and really believe in having a large amount of different magnesium so that there's no one single load that's causing some of that loose bowel or
Well,
indigestion.
isn't your magnesium oxide like specially formulated also?
We do have a magnesium oxide, although it's technically a liposomal form. So
Okay.
where magnesium oxide, that's an inorganic salt. It just means that it's, like magnesium oxide, same as like iron oxide, like rust. But what we're doing is we're taking it, so it's a low bioavailability form, but we're enveloping it in an ester. So it's basically a liposomal form, so it can be absorbed water soluble, fat solubly, which is really exciting. It means that it's significantly easier for the body to absorb. What we see is that going from about 4% to about high 70s, low 80%. So pretty high bioavailability.
Very good. So, any of you out there that is looking for a top shelf magnesium supplement, you need to come up to Nature's Pickens, excuse me, and check out the BioOptimizers. Magnesium comes in capsule form. It also comes in some powder forms as well. And Morgan, one of the ones that I really like, and I have a few people, I have about 10 people that's using it, is the one with the tart cherry. So you're getting that, not only the magnesium, but you're getting the tart cherry extract for that, anti-inflammatory response, I would believe also. Tart cherry has some really good studies behind it also.
Absolutely. And we have 1,000 milligrams of tart cherry extract per serving, which is basically 2 clinical doses from what was originally studied. And there's been a lot of amazing studies in that it may support some of the healthy gut flora with the polyphenols, some support for healthy cognitive function. And then really showing, like you were talking about, like supporting healthy inflammation. And it pairs so well with magnesium. It's, like magnesium's doing all these things to support the body. This is a healthy, digestive, healthy inflammation, healthy sleep.
I was going to say, I
that,
would see that. Doesn't tart cherry also help with melatonin?
yes, there were some studies done, and they saw that it was like about a 15% improvement in sleep quality taking the tart cherry, and that the body it has some precursors that the body can actually make its own melatonin, which was pretty amazing to be able to see. Instead of taking an external source which can, for some people, knock their own hormones out of alignment, especially taking some of the higher doses, where, like 1 to 20 milligrams is like 300 to 60,000 times what we naturally produce. And so it can interfere. Some people, they get, like a nightmare. Some people say that they feel sleepy the rest of the day or groggy, or like long term, some people say that they notice their testosterone levels can be lowered by it. And where if you take some of the precursors like tart cherry, we see that there's actually the physiologic melatonin production of about 15%, which is pretty amazing, because then the body can navigate and make it naturally versus an external source.
Yeah, now just for the listeners that just heard all of that, he was talking about melatonin. Taking high doses of melatonin can possibly change these hormonal structures, not the magnesium with the tart cherry. The tart cherry naturally can help you with your own production of melatonin, so you wouldn't have that result with that. I personally, Morgan, cannot do melatonin. It gives me weird dreams, and I just feel really terrible in the morning when I wake up. I know a lot of people use it and have great success with it. I personally cannot, sustain the effects that it kind of gives you, the after effects.
Yeah, I hear that from so many different people. And, we were trying to build a product that could have the widest audience, help support the widest audience. Part of that was why, we did a few things and continue to work to level all of our products up, but especially this one, because it had so many wonderful responses to it. And we, looked at how we could do a sugar-free and stevia-free product. So in that, it's tart cherry flavored, we were seeing people do the Sleepy Girl mocktail, which was tart cherry juice plus a probiotic soda plus magnesium in one drink, sort of used as a mocktail.
Yeah.
And that's sort of where, like, we were actually working with this behind the scenes when we saw that, and we're like, oh my gosh, somebody's doing our plan. But when we looked at it, we were like, hey, this has more sugar than a Coke does. Like, what can we do? And so we actually, you can mix it with water, you can mix it in a lemon tea or chamomile tea to go to sleep, in a hot drink. And we made it sugar-free, and instead of using like stevia, which a lot of people seem to have, they don't like the taste of, and some people have weird, digestive issues with it. And so we used tempeh. And so it's a protein from a West African fruit that's 3,000 times sweeter than sugar, but because it's a protein, it does not affect the blood sugar, and it does not affect the teeth. And you can use a very, very tiny amount because it's 3,000 times sweeter than sugar, and it tastes good. We get so many people that actually like the taste of it. So in those efforts, we've been able to bring, this protein-based sweetener to the market that's natural. It just comes from a fruit, even though it's a protein. And, we hear such positive things all across the board from people that take it, which is pretty exciting.
The magnesium breakthrough, the tart cherry, I've not tried the unflavored, but the tart cherry is really great tasting. If there's anyone out there who wants to try it, it's really good. I don't think you'll be disappointed. My daughter uses it. She has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and she uses magnesium's breakthroughs, tart cherry at night to help her sleep and with her muscles and so forth. And she loves it. And I have to tell her about that cocktail, because she makes these mocktail drink things all the time. So I'll have to tell her about, making one of those. So that's really good. Now, another issue that a lot of people, Morgan, have is digestive issues. And wow, you could go on and on. I mean, it just start from bloating to GERD to heartburn to constipation, diarrhea. I mean, when they say the digestive tract is from the mouth all the way through, so are the problems. And I mean, it's just, and then, and then we can tie in the gluten guardian with this conversation too, because that's a big issue as well. With the where our foods are being processed today compared to years ago, the way the proteins are being absorbed, the way the gluten is
Mhm.
being broken down, it is really causing some very horrendous digestive issues. What do you say to that?
It really does. And, everybody's digestion is a little bit different, but it seems like there's so much food that doesn't have, some of the gluten separated, and especially some of the processed food. And, there's a lot of milk derivatives that are used in some foods that also have like the casein. And the thing about gluten and casein and some of the dairy derived proteins are they can be really hard to break down. Proteins alone are some of the hardest, things that we eat to break down to be able to absorb the nutrition or the amino acids from. And gluten, especially, it's one of the reasons that makes, stuff stick together. I mean, it's what makes bread stretch and have some of that chewy texture that we like.
Yeah.
It also can be really problematic, especially as we've sort of grown the gluten in our wheat over the last 60 to 70 years. Like with people still wanting to eat out, wanting to be able to help to support their digestion, we came out with a product that we, really believe in that was completely designed around helping people to be able to break down the problematic gluten proteins and the casein in dairy, which are very similar in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
And we built an enzyme that's a blend of 6 different plant-based proteolytic enzymes to work across a broad pH range, with the intentional idea, because a lot of times when people take external enzymes or even a lot of the internal enzymes, they often will work in like a high pH or where it's like a very acidic,
Mm-hmm.
or it's almost a base. And so there's often like the stair steps of where we actually digest food is like some acidity, or it's not as ideal for breaking down these proteins. And we intentionally worked with our partner to use plant-based proteins, so these are vegan, in a form that are in different pHs to help people that maybe they make less stomach acid, maybe they're getting older and their body is less receptive to high protein food, and really a thoughtful mix of 6 different proteolytic enzymes specifically for those gluten proteins and starches, and to help the body to be able to digest and absorb, especially when people are going out to restaurants or eating with family members that may not be as attentive to how they're cooking their food or some of the ingredients that may be problematic for other people.
When with the different issues that people have digestive wise, say they have
Mhm.
acid reflux or just bloating, would a digestive enzyme like the MAS enzymes be something that somebody should be considering using to help with the breaking down of those, foods so that they're being absorbed better into the body?
Absolutely. And, it's really worth looking at. This has over 17 years of research and development. And, we're on the 4th version of it, and it's had a lot of iterations. And literally, we're continuing to do, studies and tests so that we can level this product up. And it was really interesting. I think I may have told you when I first came to Bioptimizers over 3.5 years ago, the majority of the people that I spoke to were practitioners. And I was like, hey, I'd love to talk to you about message enzymes to tell you about, how well it works and, some of the special things about it. And the practitioners were like, no, let me tell you about it. This is what, the people that I work with think. This is how amazing it is. And it was, I was getting schooled on it day after day. And it was pretty amazing because they had the direct experience with people where I was just working, with a large group of, consumers across the U.S., but I was not directly talking to them. And so hearing the stories of the practitioners was just unbelievable to me on how many people were having these unbelievably positive experiences with it, that had, were working on their digestion and why things, may have been out of balance for them. But, this is it's 18 different enzymes. It's geared for a full spectrum. So, proteins, helps them break down proteins, fats, fibers, fermentable sugars, supporting and minimizing, bloating and digestive discomfort. It is, it has phytase to help release minerals in food like zinc and iron. We include bromelain, so it supports some of the systemic enzymes for exercise recovery and, healthy inflammatory processes. And, it helps everything from protein to food that's, like plant-based food. Somebody could be a carnivore diet person and they want something to maximize their protein breakdown and absorption, or they could be a vegan and want the most protein and minimize bloating from high legumes and rice and veggies. And it works for everybody. It's something that we see all the time with it being gluten-free, soy-free, and full spectrum. It really was well thought out. And at the same time, like, I don't know if the listeners have had a lot of experience with enzymes, but if you think about digestion, they often have a pretty strong smell of something like digestive juices.
All right.
And we were able to work with our partner, and they have a really pleasant lemon scent to them. And again, these are totally vegan. Like, all of these are coming from a fermentation process where we're taking vegetables and sea vegetables and mushrooms and yeast, and we're fermenting them to make the enzymes. And these are enzymes that break down at different pHs, again, like glutenzyme, so that the body can get the nutrients from our food that we need, feel good while we eat, and not have to have that time where we're like, oh, I feel, bloated, or I need a few hours to recover from my meal, and, really allow the body to be much more efficient and effective. So
I had a gentleman the other day that said, I'm tired of feeling like I ate the whole cow, because he,
Absolutely.
it just was just laying there. It just wasn't breaking down. And, so of course he got the mass enzymes actually, and he come back in, the beginning of the week, and he said, I'm just amazed. I'm amazed at how quickly they work. I mean, the first time he said I used them, it was not, I didn't have that full feeling anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I can't believe that they work that fast. But Morgan, if you're not digesting your food, and it seems like the older we get, the less digestive capabilities we seem to have, that a digestive enzyme seems like it should be something that we have in our regimen on a daily basis.
Absolutely, especially with us aging, me included in this. We need more protein, and even taking the same quantity, your digestion, may not be able to break down and absorb the same amount of protein, as we age. And so this is something that can really help the body to break down that protein to maximize absorption, maximize the body's ability to maintain muscle mass as we age, to minimize the likelihood for, any potential injuries, and really help keep us, active and, capable in our future in aging, which I think is really important, something that we're seeing more and more. And this is one great way to do that for you.
I can remember my mom saying, I don't like meat anymore. I just
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like it. So one of the things that she would find is that her muscles, she just um, like lost muscle. She wasn't as energetic. She would tire out quicker. And I think that's because she wouldn't consume the proteins that you need. Your muscles have to have proteins. And, so I think the older we get, I think that I hear that a lot from older people. I don't eat as much protein as I did when I was younger. So you
Right.
have to make sure that you're supplementing that protein into you. And by doing that, a digestive enzyme can help them break that down and utilize it properly so that they do get all of that benefit. Enzymes help us improve our, nutrient absorption. And we definitely need that. And it's not just older people, that's younger people as well. But it also helps people that have, different digestive discomfort issues, whether it's GERD or they're just not moving their food. I want the listeners to understand that digestive enzymes are very, very important to the body. When, they can help with your immune system. They can help with so many different things. And the older we are getting, the more we are needing a good digestive enzymes. And honestly, the mass enzymes is one of the best ones that is out there. And if you have a gluten issue, now I did want to ask you this, Morgan, the gluten guardian.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's for people that have gluten, so they can eat gluten. It'll help break down the gluten. Celiac disease is like a severe gluten allergy. Would you recommend the gluten guardian to somebody who has celiac? Because actually, I just recommend stay away from gluten.
Absolutely. Celiac is sort of like the next level of being sensitive to gluten. And I would say, like, the first thing is this is to help people that are, have a little bit of a sensitivity to it,
Okay.
but and is really not designed for anybody that has a gluten allergy to go out and eat, like bread or pizza or anything like that. With that celiac, we do see people that are like, they carry it because when they order at restaurants and if they accidentally have some gluten, they say, I've heard from people, this is just hearsay, but they say that they come back much quicker and feel better much quicker having it afterwards. But it definitely is not going to protect and make people feel fine, having
If they have
gluten.
celiac, yeah.
Right, if they have celiac. So
Okay.
definitely worth staying away from it completely. It's so hard on the system for them. So I definitely feel for people who are dealing with that.
And one of my
But-
customers, probably about 4 weeks ago or so, she came in and she was taking other digestive enzymes, and she was still saying that she was having such a problem with bloating and just gas
Mhm.
buildup. And my sister actually said to her, you may be gluten sensitive. You should try the Gluten Guardian. And she raves about it. She come back in, she hugged my sister, kissed her on the cheek. She said, I haven't had any bloating since I started taking this. She said,
Wow, that's amazing.
apparently that was my issue and I didn't realize it. She was eating, whole grains and like whole wheat and, different things. And, wondering why, because she really, really cleaned up her diet. and couldn't understand why she was still having all these really severe for her bloating and digestive issues. And the gluten guardian, I mean, took care of it. I
Yeah.
literally took care of it. She's not bloated anymore. She used to look like she was probably about 7 or 8 months pregnant all the time.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and now not. I mean, just not. She is thrilled to death, and I would imagine that if you were in the store and she come in, she'd probably hug and kiss you too for having the product.
That's funny. Yeah, I feel really honored to be able to support people with these products, and seeing how dramatic of an effect it has on people is pretty amazing. And the digestive line is, I think something that is really special. One of the things about it, we worked really hard to keep it financially available for people. So, like our Masszymes, for instance, has 4 times the amount of protease as the leading competitors. Like the product literally capsule to capsule leads in that entire category, and it costs about half as much per capsule as the leading competitor. So we're really trying to make stuff that people can take, that makes sense for them, that they can
and
add
afford it.
into their regular. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and at the same time, we're doing a lot of things to level them up. Like, we're continuing to do research on our own products so that we can have the most modern science, understand how this is going to work for the widest audience. And, like recently, all our magnesium powders, we went completely maltodextrin free. So we are not going to, we're
Great.
going on this clean initiative. All of our capsules are seed oil free. So the magnesium caps are seed oil free. We're really striving to have anything that would be an issue or a deterrent or an irritant for people in their system. We want to minimize and eliminate all of that. And so, we're really proud of what we're doing to level up as a brand and help to do it for the consumer so that they can have a healthy, active lifestyle, and they can actually notice what these products do.
The gluten guardian compared to the mass enzymes. Now, how would you now with the lady, I don't want to say her name but with the lady that I was talking about, it was really a trial and error with her. Hey, why don't you try this? Maybe this is your situation. Is there any way to really determine which one, the gluten guardian or the mass enzyme, would be best for you? Or is it possibly a trial and error? Because with gluten, unless you're actually tested, you probably don't know unless you use something like this with like her that was just a lifesaver.
A lot of people start with the Masszymes that because it covers so much, and it even does have some of the protease that support breakdown of the gluten and casein. And so, a lot of people notice that they do get a lot of the benefits from the Masszymes, and that's often where people will start. Usually, when people get into sometimes it comes on pretty quickly as people get older, that they're like, all of a sudden, I can't have gluten. What happened?
Yeah.
And, it's a little bit of a research project. And, that's, if they think that might be specifically it, starting with the gluten guardian is a great way to do it.
Okay.
If not, working with the Masszymes first on just like overall bloating, overall feeling a little bit lethargic, and wanting to feel like they're getting the most from their food, maximize protein breakdown and absorption. That's definitely a great way to do it with the Masszymes first.
Now,
because it covers so much.
Now, are we talking you use these with every meal? Like I use the mass enzymes. I most generally use it mostly at lunchtime because that's my biggest meal. But I mean, can somebody use it with every meal if they're eating 3 meals a day?
We have a lot of people that do. It's
Okay.
really to tailor it to your own experience. Where
Okay.
some people, are working through some digestive issues, and for a while they'll do it for every single meal. And some people will be like, just I want my biggest meal, my highest protein meal. Some people focus on like they have a harder time taking high concentrations of protein.
Okay.
We hear this a lot, especially for people that are getting older and coming back into working out to maintain muscle mass, where they're like, oh, I have protein shakes. I just don't digest them the way I used to. And that's where they start to take the Masszymes because they can maximize the uptake of the protein and the breakdown, which is a great way to do it. We also have a lot of people that actually use these on an empty stomach as a systemic enzyme to help support the entire body to allow the enzymes to be used to help reset some of the cytokine inflammatory support within the body to really help the body do what it needs to do to support everything.
So it
that's
has
happening
the
to
proteolytic
restore.
enzymes in to help with, like, in between meals for
Exactly.
inflammation.
Exactly.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So end of day, if people are fasting, or the beginning of a day,
Okay.
if they're not going to be eating, they can use it that way. But also, they can be using it just with every meal. Every big meal is the main way that most people do it.
Fantastic. Morgan, I know we only have about 20 seconds left. I want to tell you thank you very much for coming on. I hope we can book another one. I know you're really busy, but I would love to book another one and continue talking about some different things of BioOptimizer.
I would love that. It's always an honor, Michelle. Thank you so much for including us. We're here to support you and really appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye. All right, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you next week.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. In southern Georgia, wildfires are growing, destroying more than 50 homes. In Atkinson, Brittany Quinn had no time to grab anything before she evacuated.
My house is gone.
CBS's Skylar Henry is in Waynesville, Georgia.
Officials say that they are still struggling to contain this fire. Only about 15% of it is contained. They say that they are also concerned about the structures in and around this area as well. More than 4 dozen structures, all leveled, all residences, and about 1,000 of them are still at risk.
Also, more than 15 million people across the central U.S. are under fire weather alerts through tomorrow. U.S. forces have seized another tanker linked with smuggling Iranian oil in the Indian Ocean. It comes one day after Iran seized 2 commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. CBS's Nancy Cordes.
The president said earlier this morning that minesweepers, U.S. minesweepers, are clearing the strait up now, and he is ordering that activity to continue, but at a tripled up level. Again, unclear what that actually means in practice, because the U.S.